everybody, it's Scott with Harper Health AZ. Today I'm going to show you how to make a mushroom squash Wellington. If you haven't already, make sure to hit that thumbs up to like the video, helps the YouTube algorithm, and then also hit that subscribe and the little notification bell so you can be notified every time I upload a new video. So let's jump right into this one. First thing we're going to need to do with this one is set our oven to 400 degrees Fahrenheit. Now for this one, we will want to use a butternut squash and cut off the end of it and carefully slice it right down the middle. Next, we'll want to cut right on the outside of where all the seeds are. We are just going to use this. You can save this for later. I would just take the seeds and the little strings out of here so it's ready for use with your other recipes. Next thing we are going to do is take both of these sides and put it on a tray with some foil. Now that we have the butternut squash on here, we just want to season it with a little bit of salt and pepper. Do this to your taste. All right, now we are going to bake our sweet potato for 45 minutes. We want this to be really soft and just for that skin to peel right off of it. And this will make it so much easier for us to cook later. And while we have our butternut squash being cooked in the oven, we are gonna go ahead and prep the rest of our stuff. All right, so the next thing we will wanna do is cut up our onion. Next, we will dice up our 4 garlic cloves. And next we'll want to go ahead and add some vegetable broth to a pan. We are just going to be sauteing our onions and garlic for about 10 to 20 minutes. And now next we are going to be doing some mushrooms and cutting and dicing all of these guys up. I got a 24-ounce package and we'll be using this for our mushroom Wellington along with the gravy to go along with it. So I cut up most of them for our Wellington, and then I left 12 out that we will be using for the sauce. All right, since we got our onions and garlic sauteed pretty good, added in a couple handfuls of the mushrooms, and if you need to, just add some vegetable broth to continue sauteing them. All right, the next thing we are gonna do is roll out our puff pastries. So we have 2 nice and long rectangle type sections to throw everything onto. So let's do that one next. All right, and then we're just gonna throw it on some parchment paper. And then once we get all of our mushrooms and the onions all sauteed, we will lay them on here. And of course, I wanna check to make sure this is gonna be big enough for the squash since we'll put it end to end and see how that's gonna fit in there. Got plenty extra to cover the whole thing. And next we will be adding a teaspoon of thyme. And now we have the rest of our mushroom added in there. So we will continue sauteing those. Again, if you need to add more vegetable broth, you can. Should be plenty in here right now. And as you can see, we have a lot of liquid in there from the mushrooms cooking and letting out a lot of water. So we're gonna drain this out a little bit. And now that we have most of that out, we're gonna add half a cup of walnut pieces. And I just wanna make sure they are broken up a lot. Now that we got our butternut squash out of there, we just wanna give it about 5 minutes for them to cool down. And then we will be taking the skin off and getting them ready to go onto our puff pastry here. All right, now that we have our butternut squash all prepared, we are just gonna take off the skin. Now I'm just making sure I did get all the skin off of there. All right, next thing we wanna do is add some mustard. This one can be to your taste on here. And you can do regular mustard or Dijon mustard. Now we just want to mix that up into our mixture. Now we just want to make sure this aligns in there. It looks pretty good. Now we'll just lay some of this on here. And then we're gonna put our squash right on top of it. a little bit more over here. Now we'll see if we can do this and keep everything on top and on the sides of it. All right, and now we're gonna go ahead and throw our other part of the puff pastry on top. And then just smash it down and get it connected with the bottom piece. Now, with a lot of the extra, go ahead and cut that off. We got a nice guy ready to go. And next I am gonna try a mixture of plant-based milk. Gonna do 2 tablespoons of that and half a teaspoon of syrup. Mix those together and then cover our Wellington here. Now the next thing we want to do, since this one already kind of cut open, that is perfectly fine because we do want to cut it at least 3 times just so we can let the moisture out while it's baking. And bake it for 35 to 45 minutes. We will check at 35 to see if it needs to go any longer. All right, next we are gonna go ahead and make our gravy. So let's jump right into our gravy making. First thing we will need is 1 onion. You can use a smaller one for this or a medium size. And next we will want 2 garlic cloves. And then we just want to dice those all up. And with these ones again, we're just gonna saute them in some vegetable broth. And now we will go ahead and cut up our 12 mushrooms we have left over. All right, and our onions and garlic is sauteed, so we'll go ahead and add our mushrooms to this. And now, of course, if you need to, just add a little bit of vegetable broth to help with it sauteing. This one's not gonna need much at all. Now next, I'm gonna add some liquid AMINOS to this one. I would definitely say do this to how you like it, since this can get very salty if you add a lot. And lastly, just gonna add some black pepper to it. And then the last thing we are gonna do with our gravy here is actually blend this all up. And since this guy is warm, be careful of it building up too much pressure in there. So we have some really good thick gravy. Now we just want to let it cool down a little bit, but still serve it warm over the top of the Wellington. All right, there's the mushroom squash Wellington all set up with some gravy on there. Very nice presentation for it, so great for the holidays. So if you haven't already, make sure to like the video and subscribe, and I look forward to seeing you all next week. Have a great rest of your day.